I want to start by acknowledging what an honor it is to be tonight's speaker for your squadron dinner. I was extremely flattered when Lieutenant Colonel Graff asked me to be here, and I want to sincerely thank you for having my wife Debbie and I as your guests tonight. My task this evening is to encapsulate what my N.M.M.I experience has meant to me throughout my life. In short, I need to pack the last 40 years of being Geordie into the next 10 minutes. And because I spent those 3 formative years as a high school cadet here back in the day, I think I can pull that off. I'm a retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel, and I was in the New Mexico Air National Guard most of my career. And back in the spring of 1978, I was sitting where you are now. I started my rat year in August of 1977, living on 3rd Stoop at the north end of the slab in what was then F Troop. And they've moved the troops around a lot since then. I was a proud member of Gauss Rifles, and I was on the superintendent's list, and I got to compete in a Sally Port competition as a rat, which was important that year. And I learned how to tackle academics during the 2 hours of study hall every weeknight, and I learned how to effectively use what little time was available to best perform whatever future task was at hand. And time management is a concept that the majority of alumni will mention when asked what was most beneficial to them that they learned as a cadet here at N.M.M.I. That was not, however, the most valued skill I developed as a cadet. The thing I'm most grateful for all these years later is being able to judge people's character. And N.M.M.I gave me, as a 15 to 18-year-old, the ability to identify those who see past their own wants and needs. And I learned early on that those were the folks I wanted to have as friends and mentors. And while a cadet, I honed the craft of differentiating the selfish from the selfless and the ambition-driven from the ability-driven. And this skill has served me very well throughout my career and lifetime. Most all of my military career was spent as an intelligence officer in the Air Force and Air National Guard, and that afforded me the opportunity to really put to use the time management and organizational skills that I had instilled in me in this place. Beginning with officer training, I was easily able to distinguish myself as a squared-away individual, while others who lacked any kind of structured background in their past, they had a hard time getting the hang of regimented life. Familiar, right? Some were quickly overwhelmed with the piling up of demands and tasks, but I was able to meet deadlines and perform under pressure. And this is not to say that I didn't fail. I most certainly did. At times throughout my life, I've had severe setbacks and some professional and personal shortcomings. I learned early on that it's how one deals with those body blows that defines one's character. And when I didn't achieve certain goals, those failures were met with personal fortitude and the determination to succeed, rather than a defeatist attitude. I finished a 23-year active duty career with distinction, having performed my duties with pride and attention to detail, and never having compromised my character for personal gain or at the expense of others. My superiors saw me as a tenacious and tireless worker who never hesitated when challenged with large, complex projects. I got to travel the world and work with fighter jets and hostage rescue and embassy liaison work. I really had a fun career. And if I was criticized, which I was, it was generally due to a lack of restraint, but never a lack of boldness. And during my military career, which ended in 2009, I built an unbelievable level of mutual respect with pilots, operations, and intelligence personnel across the country and around the world. And that character check I mentioned earlier as my greatest takeaway from the Institute served me very well. I did my best to present myself as a professional who was ready for the fight, someone who you could count on not to just talk the talk, but to also walk the walk. And that may sound self-aggrandizing, but it really isn't. N.M.M.I gave me confidence in the fact at an early age that if I applied myself fully to any task at hand, success would be the ultimate outcome. It might not be the exact success that I originally sought out, but it would get me close enough to it and I would arrive at success nonetheless. And I recently read, helping my daughter who's a freshman in college, I read former U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt's account of the Rough Riders and their campaign on the island of Cuba during the Spanish-American War 120 years ago. And in the book, he and others handpicked those they wanted to take with them into battle. And his assessment of the qualities he most coveted in those selected were summed up into one word: hardihood. And after a lifetime spent reading and writing, this was still a fairly new term to me, but I was immediately drawn to it. It encapsulates a daring, what some would call cavalier attitude toward danger, and the U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Roosevelt at the time, he really admired that word and that attitude toward life. And he personally aspired to it throughout his life. And being willing to take risks and accept danger can be hazardous, but the rewards are that much more meaningful. While my service to this great nation never put me on a combative level equal to those who charged San Juan Hill, I always did my best to instill an attitude of hardihood in those around me. And I sought to enter any given arena with a focus on purpose and ability, and I shied away from those who lacked that intensity. The result of my personal efforts were that I have been able to recognize that same attitude in others, naturally gravitating towards them. And if you think about it, when faced with challenges, it just makes sense to surround yourself with bold companions. This is not to say that we all need to be ferocious alpha dogs. I have recognized high ambition paired with low ability, and that is a very dangerous combination. Like leadership without empathy, it serves the individual instead of the group or the unit. And when a person is focused only on what will most benefit themselves, they're unable to see the bigger picture. And when you give these folks power, the rest of the team will suffer. Back here at the old post, I was able to begin seeing this type of attitude in action. I saw some leaders who were routinely taking the path of least resistance. The Harry Morrison competition was always a good indicator of which troops had the most selfless leaders and the best attitude of teamwork. And it could also be used to see which troops suffered from a lack of cohesion in that same teamwork. I had the good fortune of meeting and becoming close with several like-minded cadets, which made my high school years at the Institute a very memorable experience. The fact that I ratted with the first 25 female cadets to attend the Institute also gave me a unique perspective on their determination, and I carried that experience throughout my career as well. I served with some folks in the military who wore blinders, who despised change, and valued a very comfortable reclining position on the past instead of an attitude of leaning into the future. That attitude never made sense to me, because I always wanted to inspire those around me to be innovative, to embrace the new, and always be on the lookout for ways to improve. My preparations for retirement from the military coincided with my desire to become more involved with my alma mater, and I began what has been a very rewarding reconnection with both this place as well as the current corps, staff, and alumni of the Institute. For over a decade, I've been involved not only with homecoming activities, but with alumni musters, the Cadet Flight Training Program, the N.M.M.I Parents Group, helped sponsoring several cadets, and many alumni events in the Albuquerque area. And I can say without reservation that New Mexico Military Institute has become one of the major focal points of my life. And I know that Debbie would agree with that. Like my military service, it is not about my personal accolades. It has always been about the relationships that they have the supreme value. I count among my personal friends some graduates of this place in 1952 and some that graduated over the last several years. I love the fact that I have renewed ties with my contemporaries from my years here, but it's even more meaningful to be part of a greater shared experience with people from all the other class years. When I was inducted into the Alumni Hall of Fame a few years back, it was for service to N.M.M.I, and I was, of course, filled with pride and seeking humility at the overwhelming honor. I thought about what to write for the occasion so that I could adequately express my gratitude, and a simple answer came to me. And when I took the stage at the induction ceremony, all I had prepared was a piece of paper with a long list of names on it. Everyone from my family, to my heroes, to my mentors, to my friends. And looking back on my words that day, I recognized that it was a list of folks who all displayed hardihood as part of their life choices. Since that fact stands out so vividly to me now, it made tonight's subject matter an obvious choice for me to expound on. I encourage all of you to seek out bold companions, to make hard choices, to endeavor to persevere despite hardships and failures, to support the trailblazers around you, and to avoid the complacent, who are not willing to take a chance. I have a beautiful and loving wife because I found someone with that hardihood I love so much. I have two wonderful children who are a great source of pride for Debbie and I because we saw them as necessary to our life plan. We have done our best to instill a strong sense of family, history, and pride in both of them. And from that, they are developing all the traits that will serve them well throughout their lives. In short, I have the life I imagined back when I was a new cadet at N.M.M.I. I'm living it now because I did my very best to make it a reality, to accept necessary risks and take on challenges that materialized along the way. And that is my message to all of you. Have the hardihood to make it happen. Thanks again for having us, and I wish you all the very best that life has to offer. I was going to have a little bit of the frog bowl, but they're out of cups. That's really terrible. Anybody got an empty glass? All right.
Dilly dilly.
None of you guys are in the U.S. military yet, so I won't make you stand. But here's to the United States Air Force.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Let's give him one more round of applause, please. As a thank you for coming to speak with us today, I'd like to give this to you on behalf of myself and the rest of the 2nd Squadron. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you.
What are we doing?
We're retiring the colors.
Carry, colors, forward, arch.
Members of the mess, I'd like you to move to the front of the head table and join me in singing Old Post. But before you leave your seats, I'd like the mess to thank this treat.
Way to go, Diana.
This one from the whole staff as well. And finally, my XO Major Johnson. Please join me in front of the head table for the singing of Old Post.
Come on in.
Come on.
The reason we started doing these is because it was only the 1st and 3rd class that had a chance to see a formal dinner.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love it.
Then we got to do this. Obviously, we have some work to do on the etiquette for toast.
Oh, it's still a blast. They're gonna remember this a lot more than other nights. That's for sure. Yeah.
when I start singing, you guys sing along, right?
Solomon.
This is our alma mater. This is our stalwart institute. We'll have her always on our way. Memories are with us day by day. We will remember cadets marching. We will remember cadets playing. And bugles in the sunrise. All of our lives beneath blue skies. These are the things that cannot vanish, no matter where we go. Old friends, old post, place we love most. In you our hearts will grow. Thanks again. That was really fun. Really enjoyed it. Appreciate it. That was too cool. You are released.